I'll be on in just a second. What's going on, Vincent?
Hey,
Gary,
what's up?
what is
What's
going
going
on?
on, man?
Let me push this back a little bit. Hold on one second.
Let me see.
Okay, great. What's going on with you, my friend?
How are you, man? I'm just trying to get this phone
Okay.
set up and situated.
Yes. I'm sitting right here. Listen, just trying to deliver a little love to the masses. How are you doing tonight?
I'm good, man. Long time no see. As we always say, we see each other once every 6 months.
We do. You be doing your thing over there in Los Angeles, doing it up all
Look,
big, living in
look,
sunset.
I'm
I'm
trying,
so
man.
I'm so proud of you. When I really thought about this topic, I thought about, different conversations um, that you and I have talked about where, you talked about how you dealt with insecurity and how you found ways to overcome it and how you're still learning to live, with some of your insecurities. And I was just like,
Yeah,
just looking from the outside in, you wouldn't think that you would be somebody that even dealt with insecurity ever. But I think, it's important to know that insecurity doesn't have one face. That some way, somehow,
right.
we all have something that we're insecure about. And so that's why I definitely want to
Absolutely.
talk about this, definitely. But first off, I want to congratulate you on your new music, doing
Yo,
great things. Now, for those of you that don't know, Gary is also, besides being an actor, you guys might remember him about him, and you've seen him on a number of different series and shows. He has his own shows and series with Glow Media,
mm-hmm,
and then also he's
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
like Gary is becoming quite the threat, if he wasn't already quite the threat.
Yo, thank you, man. I appreciate it. So kind of you. No, I really appreciate it. I'm super excited. And yes, my music is definitely a focal point right now, in addition to acting, But I'm super excited about it all. And yeah, people start seeing soon and start hearing soon.
Yes. So one of the things I want to talk about tonight, like I said, is we dive into the concept of insecurity. Once again, y'all, I want to remind y'all that insecurity doesn't have a face, it doesn't have a
Hmm.
gender, it doesn't have a race, and to a degree, everybody is insecure about something. Like it might be your body, it might be your bank account, it might be
Hmm.
your relationship, it might even be, you know what I'm saying, how you feel about certain situations and things. For
Hmm.
myself, it was always my body that I was insecure about. Once upon a time, most of you know, I was bigger. I was 390 pounds, and I was highly insecure about that. Wouldn't take my shirt off outside. Oh, Cedric just got a badge. Thank you, Cedric, for purchasing our first badge of the night. I wouldn't wear. I wouldn't
What's
wear
that?
shirts outside. So a badge is pretty much, for those of you that don't know, if you want to support the content on here financially, you can buy a badge. They're like 99 cents or $1.99, $3.99, $5.99. The money
Oh,
goes
okay.
directly into the influencers' pockets.
Oh, that's super cool. I didn't even know that. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off in the middle of your story. But please proceed.
Like, what is that?
That's nice. But go ahead. Proceed.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Instagram is allowing people to monetize their platforms now. I think you can.
Yeah.
The settings for it. I think you might have the settings for it. I'm sure you get plenty of traffic.
Okay. Let me throw a badge up there. I'm trying to
Listen,
get paid.
get some money, get some out of there. Yeah, so pretty much I was insecure about my body. But what is it that you were insecure about growing up or even now?
I think, well, I was insecure about a couple of things. I think especially growing up, it was being feminine, you know what I mean, and being tall and very thin, because like I remember I got made fun of a lot in elementary just for being just oh, he's tall, he's lanky. So when I grew up, I always was kind of insecure. Like I would walk, sort of like with my shoulders hunched over, not so confident,
Mm,
thinking that and those feelings eventually grew into like not feeling good enough, or not wanted. And a lot of people don't think that you think that now because they're like, oh, you're tall, that's great. People love tall guys and this, that, and the other. But as a kid being tall, it was hard, because I just felt
mhm,
like I felt very unattractive. I couldn't gain weight, and I was a kid and I still the same way to this day. I ate a lot and I couldn't gain a pound, so I was very just like frail, so those type of things that, I got made fun of in elementary and then eventually in my adulthood, it just grew with me. And that's also one of the reasons why I got into or how I got into modeling and acting because it gave me the confidence to that I didn't have really in prior to that, it just kind of like gave me a lot of confidence where, I'll do runway shows and where being tall was the thing, so people would embrace my height, and as a result of those things, it built my confidence, but that was one of the reasons why I got into like the whole modeling and acting thing in the very, very beginning.
Oh wow, see, I never knew that. And like, I can see how as a kid when because I remember somebody being like the tall person in my class when I was,
Hmm.
I mean, I was pretty much average height, maybe a little bit taller, but he was like way taller than everybody else. And everybody be like, oh, they make fun of you tall this, you tall that, or you're a tall drink of water. And I know when it comes to, body positivity, a lot of times we think about it as in just bigger people who want to be smaller, but we don't think about like
Right.
slim people who want to be like kind of bigger, or you know what I'm saying? Because I think
Yeah.
I'll have a topic later on where I'll be talking with Alex Jonte, and it'll be body positivity 101, too skinny. And so to hear
Oh,
you
wow.
say
Okay.
it just shows that it's a place for that body positivity blankets like humanity. It's not just for one group of people; it's for all groups of people. And
Absolutely.
you decide to get into modeling and acting doing it. Like that's amazing. Because a lot
Yeah,
of people,
it was.
you know,
It was a contradiction, but I think what it was one of those things where I did a show and the response I got from doing the show, felt so good that I was just like, I felt in place, or I felt normal, or I felt like, yo, I feel good enough now. I'm in an environment where this is acceptable or great or a plus, so then I love that feeling. So, I started to just kind of stay with it, and the more and more I did it, I just developed confidence within myself. But yeah, it's definitely a real thing. I think it's, just as much as it being fat, being skinny, you know what I mean? Like we all have our challenges and things that we face. So
but you brought up a point too where you said about being viewed as feminine. Can you talk about that a little bit?
yeah, because I remember, as a kid, and I'm a pretty transparent person, but I remember as a kid, I would walk with a little switch, you know what I mean? Or I had a little pizzazz in my walk or whatever, and the other kids not like they noticed that. And one thing I've learned as an adult, kids are mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So kids are
absolutely.
really mean. So, obviously they picked up on that when I was young, and, that was a thing like, oh, he walks funny, he must be feminine, or he must be gay, he must be, and then that became an insecurity, too, because, you know, later on in life or as a kid, I didn't have a father growing up, and I used to think that because my father was such a manly man, like a guy's guy. I felt like because he had a son that kind of had a little sugar in his tank, that he didn't really, even though that may not have been the case, in my mind, when the way I processed that was, oh, I'm a little feminine and not man enough for my father. So, you know what I mean? So that kind of like led down to that road. Um, and that just it goes into insecurity again, that not feeling good enough, not believing people when they say you are good enough, like self-doubt and all of that, man, just kind of like came in place based off of that one perception that someone had of me.
I'm sorry that you had to go through that because as a kid, processing all those feelings, issues with your
Hmm.
father, issues with your body, tall,
Yeah.
and then with your sexuality, and then not wanting to be transparent at the time because you weren't ready to come out. You were still feeling certain things, and people are
Hmm.
describing you as feminine. And I know, like, as we get older, we realize that there's no set way to be a man, that some men actually are feminine. But back then, I can understand back in the
Right.
90s, 2000s, that wasn't it. That wasn't
Right.
it. How would you
Right.
say that, besides acting and modeling, did you get any professional help to kind of survive your childhood and what you were dealing with?
I remember having a counselor when I was very, very young, but
Mm-hmm.
through elementary, middle school, and all of that, no, I just kind of remember dealing with it. It wasn't until I became an adult and I started to have relationships with other people, and I realized through those relationships the things I needed to work on with myself. You know what I mean? So like it was later on in life where I kind of got to the point where I knew I needed someone to talk to, because the thing was I got to that place where I got tired of feeling not good enough. I got tired of feeling unworthy because I knew that that wasn't the case, you know. So it was like that moment where I was just like, okay, it got to be a better way. Like life has to be better than this. Like I cannot feel like this waking up every day. Um, so I got a therapist, and I literally have had a therapist for the past 5 6 years now, you know, and I go on a biweekly basis, you know, and it's helpful for me because it allows me to see things from different perspectives, and I do a lot of unpacking, you know, as they would say, you know, like we really address those issues from when you were a child, when I was a child, and you know things that I went through, you know, and I just be honest and transparent so that way I could try to find like the root causes of things,
Mhm.
so that way that I could heal and move forward and have a better life, you know. So definitely therapy has helped me a lot later on in life. But to go back on your original question, as a kid, no, I really didn't have therapy. You know, I had my mom there, and you know certain people in my life that helped me get through things, but it wasn't, you know, professional until, you know, I became an adult.
I commend you for getting the help you need and being in therapy continuously for these last few years, because a lot of people don't realize, like, I feel like just like you got a barber, just like you got a personal trainer,
Yep,
or you got a pastor, you need to have a therapist as well too, because
absolutely.
we spend so much time working on our exterior that we don't spend enough time working on our interior, and that includes our
Yep,
mind. And people say you just have to get over it, you just have to think differently, or you just have to stop letting stuff get to you. And that's way easier said than done. It's not even about
yeah,
allowing something to happen or letting, because nobody lets anything happen to them. It's being human
correct,
or
correct.
feelings.
Like
Your
like
feelings.
you have to put in that work, man. Like that's what it is. Like you have to put in that self work, and I think, you know, for me, I just kind of discovered that at a earlier age because that's something I talk to all of my friends about now, you know, and thankfully, like most of my friends have gotten therapists, you know, and you know, so that it's a great thing to do, you know what I mean? But it you definitely have to put in that work. You have to want to change. You have to want to be better and do better for yourself, you know. I just noticed I was in my I'm very observant and aware of like my emotions and feelings and things like that. And I just was at a place in my life for a long time. And I think you and I were even friends during this where, you know, I was going through like a lot of depression and things like that. And I was very unhappy. And, you know, I got to the point where one day I was just like, I'm tired of being unhappy. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And so that's you got to put in that work and you got to want it, you know what I mean? And I think it just takes people to get there sometimes, you know, like because therapy is new. It's not something that's often talked about in our community. It's not something that's promoted.
Right.
It is very expensive. There are resources out there, but they're very hard to find. So I get it. You know, I get it why people have like are very apprehensive about, you know, therapy and things like that. But
Right.
I think once you get into it, man, it's really life changing for real.
I definitely agree with that. What I want to do real quick though is backtrack for those of you who are just joining us. The topic tonight for 101 is insecurity, and we are talking with Gary LeVar. Gary's being transparent and opening up with us about his own battles with his own insecurities, and I'll talk a little bit about mine later on. But right now, what I want to do is backtrack and kind of tell you guys a little bit, about what insecurity is. It's not just a bit of a show, but I'm about to say Lisa Ray. Oh my goodness, that Issa Rae, made a big career off of. But I do like how that show shows insecurity. I really do.
Hmm.
One is insecure about dating and her career. Another is insecure about being a mom. Another is insecure about her friendship. And it's amazing across the board, especially with us as millennials. People say, we got all this technology at our fingertips, all this opportunity, but at the same
Hmm.
time, it kind of feels like we're choking a little bit.
Right,
And I
right.
believe social media has a big part of it. I think social media has become, to a degree, the great robber of joy. When it's used properly, it's a great, powerful material. When it's used
Absolutely.
the other way, it makes it seem like everybody's living this great, fabulous, wonderful life. And here you
Hmm.
are, like, I'm not really doing that well. Well, actually, you kind of are. And they kind of aren't either. But
Yeah,
it's a snapshot of their life. And they can manipulate it to look however they want it to look. So I always try to keep that in mind. So, insecurity, you guys, is defined as uncertainty or anxiety about oneself, a lack of confidence. It's
Hmm.
also described as the state of being open to danger or threat or lack of protection. Based on the conversation that you had with me, I can see a little bit of both in this when it, comes to your story or whatnot. When you're talking about anxiety and lack of confidence, like with your physicality, and then
Hmm.
a lot of people don't realize that fathers provide validation, mothers nurture, fathers provide validation and protection. And I
Yeah.
can see without, necessarily having your dad in your life, how you can kind of feel a bit unprotected. Like somebody should be here to walk me through this. I might have got this height from you. You know what I'm saying? How did you
Right.
deal with it when you were a kid? I wish I could benefit from your experience because, even though your mother loves you, she's half of you, you're her baby.
Mhm.
It's not so much she can do or relate to you as a woman. So
Right.
I can understand that part. And it's just for you to survive all that and be the person that you are now is quite breathtaking. I
Yeah.
know
Thank
we
you.
talked about once about you moving to Cali.
Hmm.
For that reason, is that part of the reason you moved to California too, to kind of get away from some of the stuff that you were dealing with there?
No, California, I've always loved California. It's one of those things where everyone has a place, you know what I'm saying? So like for me, when I would come to California, I just felt like this was it. You know, I felt my most happiest. I felt like I was my most successful, you know. I got a lot of opportunities. It was just very seamless. You know, and California is like one of those places where I would travel all around the world, and when I come back to California, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so happy to be home. You know, and I remember being in other cities that I lived in, like Atlanta and DC, and I would fly back, and I'm just like, ugh, you know what I'm saying? So my whole mood was different. So I noticed I had more of a positivity about me in California. You know, so I just it's just like home to me. But you know, it was one of what happened was I was here for 2 weeks or 2 weeks. I was here for 2 years, and then I got booked on a project in Atlanta. So I moved to Atlanta, and this was like back in 2016. And this is right around the time where I booked About Him. Um, and so I stayed in Atlanta because I was booking projects. The film industry was booming or is booming there. So it
Uh-huh.
was just beneficial for me. But personally, I was just very unhappy. Like
Mm.
I didn't really like being in Atlanta. I didn't feel like I was thriving. I didn't feel at my happiest.
I know the feeling.
You know, it was just kind of, I just had to get out of there. Okay.
Get it. No,
So,
I get it. I tell people I'm a native from Atlanta, and I know you came from Atlanta too. But Atlanta has the ability to kind of feel a bit like a bird box, where you start to feel like it's the entire world, and you'll
yeah.
start to get that the world is so much bigger than just Atlanta. So I always encourage people spend some time, go on vacation. If you got to find somewhere to go every other month, even if it's just the next state over, do that. Find
Right.
a way to decompress because Atlanta is only growing in population, and with population, you meet new people, and they have
Yeah.
different experiences. And they bring their own baggage and stuff to you, and if you haven't dealt with your stuff, it kind of couples with their stuff, and it gets to be overwhelming.
Yeah, that's what it, you know, and not to say that this is an Atlanta thing. I think it's just in general.
Right.
I think people just need to do a lot of self work, self evaluations and things like that, you know, it just feels very like my energy like there just be on like a like I just feel like I can't relax, like it's just
You're on guard.
yeah, I'm like y'all need to chill, come to Cali, smoke a blunt and calm down. No, like, like just calm
No,
down.
with it. I am with it. I am so with it. I'm so with it. So
Yeah.
we talked about how your acting and modeling helped with your
Hmm.
insecurity. How has your music helped with your insecurity?
Oh, that helps a lot. I journal every single day. I write about my life every day. I write in the gratitude journal every day. Like I try to find something to be grateful for every day.
Mm.
Um, so when it came to like my music and writing my music, it was just a way of another form of me being able to express myself in like my thoughts or feelings from how I once felt or are feeling, you know what I mean? So definitely music helps. If you listen to Real Love, like you'll see kind of like where my issues and challenges have been with dating and things like that. That's like a real story. That was something I journaled, like so, and it's based off of insecurities, you know what I mean? Like me being insecure, that whole not feeling good enough, that issue, having issues of abandonment, thinking that that person is going to leave me. So I'll F it up before they get the opportunity to leave me. You know what I mean? So it was like, that is what real love is about. And that's a real situation. And it's all related to anxiety. But I was able to get that out there and share that and be vulnerable, because I ultimately feel like, you know, and I've said this to you for years, like in many interviews, I'm like, we don't go through anything for ourselves, you know?
That's right.
So for me, I always enjoy, at this point in my life, enjoy sharing my stories, being transparent, being vulnerable, because at the end of the day, it inspires someone, it helps someone. It lets people know that they're not alone, you know, and those were the type of things that I probably could have used more of when I was younger. So this is my way of kind of giving back, and hopefully encouraging and inspiring and motivating that person that's either listening or watching this interview or watching one of my films, to see like, oh wow, he came from this to that, you know. So yeah, man, that's what it's
That's
about.
that's definitely what it's about. I have a friend that I told one time, he wrote a song and he was having a hard time with music. He's an artist. And I said, you know what? Take your broken heart and turn it into art. Like, that's what you
Yep.
got to do. All
Yep.
that pain that you feeling right then and there, you got to find a way to get it out. So you might as well be as creative as possible as you can be. And his song is like beautiful. And like he sings with
Yeah.
such ferocity in it. And I'm just like, you know, that's amazing. Like how you be able to focus and push that all together. But you just brought up that your newest single, Real Love, it kind of talks about your anxiety and dating as well. How has
Mm-hmm.
dating been for you, and how does being insecure or anxiety play into that?
Well, I don't really date, honestly. I haven't dated in a while. I've gone out like with people to, you know, dinner and stuff like that, but I really haven't had much success dating, but it really hasn't been my focus, to be honest with you. You know, after like my last relationship, I just really wanted to take a back seat on like love, you know what I mean? And really, but I really took that time to focus on myself. You know, the first couple years I was here in LA, like I did that, you know, just focusing on myself and getting myself right. But now, man, I don't even have an interest in it. You know, I feel like it's one of those things where everything has its time, you know, like the moment my career blow, it'll be that time. It'll be, you know, everything has its time. And I think love is one of those things too, you know, like when it's time for me to like love somebody and them truly love me, that it will come, you know. I feel like it will be seamless, because now it just feels so hard. But I'm kind of lazy, you know, in terms of getting to know people. Um, like I just don't. It's a lot of time and a lot to put in. Huh?
And I was about to say, why do you feel like you're lazy with it? I
Oh,
mean,
you
is
broke
this
up.
not, are you not the text messages? Are you ghosting Gary?
Huh?
I said, are you
Somebody
ghosting
said
Gary?
you breaking up. Am I
I don't see you
ghosting?
perfectly. Yes.
Have I ghosted? Yes, I did. I have ghosted.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. We'll talk about that
I
another time right there. That is crazy.
I am guilty of ghosting, but and it's not, and I mean well, you know what I mean. Like I don't have the intent on like, oh, I'm gonna ghost someone. But the thing is like I don't really have a lot of time sometimes, and it's like and when I don't find value like in my time, like if with that person is not kind of, if I don't see it going anywhere, or you know, I'm just kind of like, okay, bye. You
You're
know,
like, oh,
and sometimes that's not the best way to be. Like, I'm not saying that that's great, but yeah, like love is just one of those things where, Mikey, I honestly feel like I'll take a risk in anything except love. And like,
really?
yeah, that's one of those things, because people like, I don't know, like I have like a um I ain't gonna say, this may be a little extreme, but somewhat of a paranoia of people, like in their intentions, and you know, where I'll go into it with kind of like an open heart, open mind, and then they'll kind of be on a different page,
Mm.
and it never gels. So yeah.
Is the page, is it them like trying to move too fast? Like they're trying to. You feel like they're trying to steer you into something instead of going with the vibe that you're giving off?
Sometimes it is they are moving too fast, or sometimes it's just we're not on the same page, or we think a lot differently. You know what I mean? It's different cases. For me, what's most important to me when I meet someone is like our connection. You
Yeah.
know, I want to feel it, not necessarily like, I want to feel it. Like I want to have. This may sound funny, but I want to feel like a little high school girl who got like her crush for the first time and those butterflies, like, oh, Bobby
No,
Russo.
that makes total sense. Like they kiss you and you do like a leg pop or whatnot.
Okay, yeah. Like I want to feel it. You know what I'm saying? And until I can feel it, I'm not going to settle for anyone, But yeah, hopefully one day that happens. I'm optimistic.
No, I'm very optimistic for you. I love that. It reminds me of something that Carrie Bradshaw said one time. She said, when it comes to true love, some people are settling. And she said, but I won't settle for anything less than butterflies.
Absolutely.
And I was like, oh, I got that.
Absolutely.
I received
I want a butterfly love. I want a Mariah Carey butterfly love.
wait a minute. That just took me out. That just took me out. But you also have done some web series too.
Mm-hmm.
And with your characters, does that play out too? Like in some of your characters, like some of your insecurities or anything like that?
Oh no. No. I mean, be more specific. What do you mean?
Well, web series that you created, because you created the one that we were just most recently in, and that character, oh my god, he definitely got insecurities. Like
Oh
in like, yes,
yeah,
yes,
yeah. Most definitely. I feel like in every character I play, there's a bit of me in there somewhere. You know what I mean? Like even if it's a tad bit, so I'm able to pull from a realistic place. But yeah, definitely with that last character, because he was obviously all over the place, being married and being attracted to men and, having two children and,
By the way, let's kind of plug the name of that web series. Go ahead and tell them just a little bit about that real quick, guys. So that'll be
look,
coming out soon enough.
I know this fall, My Life season 2, My Life season 1 is out right now, so you might want to go and binge watch that right now and then catch
Right?
up too. But the character is, for those that don't know, he's very complex. He's married to a woman and two children and happy life, but then he meets this guy, he falls head over heels guy. So now he's kind of like torn in between what he wants to do. Should he take that ring off? Should he not? His kids, it's a lot of state. You know what I mean? And the story I think is something that's happening now today. So yeah, go and check it out. That's the gist.
Yeah,
Um,
you got to watch it. Where can they watch it? Is it on Victory Productions Network or is it on Glow Media as well?
Yeah, it's on both. It's on our Vimeo.com. That's My Life series. And then it's also the shorter versions are on my network, Glow Media Network, which is on YouTube. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I'll make
But
sure y'all go out and
it
support
might
that.
even too. So,
Oh my God, let me tell you. So, yeah, I'm actually playing a character in season 2. I had an intimate scene with somebody in there, and I was completely insecure about that whole scene. When I tell y'all, I
yeah.
stressed about that the entire day. A good friend of mine from college, Carlton Clay, he's the director of VPN, and he works with Gary. And he hit me up. He was like, I see, you've been doing some working out, and I see you've been doing, the web series and stuff like that here and there. He said, why don't you try to play this character? And I read over the script, and I was just like, wait a minute, I gotta get. Are you serious? He was like, yeah, it's an intimate scene. So I had to, get my clothes off, y'all. So you'll see me in there. But I was nervous about that. But I was glad that you were there because I remember a couple of years back we had a whole conversation about being insecure, and you were kind of talking me through stuff. And you were just like, Mike, you have this going on with yourself. You have that going on with yourself. You have that going on. Don't feel so insecure or let these boys make you feel any less than. Like you
Absolutely.
don't do that. Like you told me, said, don't let them make you feel less than, because you were like, they're coming to you to get put on. So that says everything.
Yeah, man. And that's the thing.
That's good.
That's the one thing about anything in life and in following dreams, man. You have to one thing I had to get over was the fear of judgment. Like there's so many things that I did not do, I feel like, in my career years ago because I was afraid of, oh, well, what are people going to say? Is this person going to say this? This person going to say that? I was so worried about the he say, she say, to where, I got to that point where I was just like, why am I letting these people stop me from, pursuing my dreams or pursuing a goal or pursuing something that I want to do? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to let nobody, I was like, F that. You know what I'm saying? So I got to the point where I'm like, this is my life. You know what I mean? So, but I'm always gonna preach that, man. Like, cause I'm a firm believer in life is too short, man. And one thing we have to do is like we have to go after what we want, And I knew, like, even in that part, like you wanted to be there, you wanted to play that part, but yet you were so nervous, and I was just like, don't let you go for it, like, you know what I'm saying? Because like I'm a root for you, you know what I mean? And the people they're just as much as there are people that are going to hate you just because you're Mikey. You know what I'm saying? There's going to be people who hate you just because you have a platform. There'll be people who hate you because you got a cute nose. You know what I mean? Who knows? You know what I mean? People have their reasons, but one thing you can't do is like let people stop you from doing anything you have your heart set on to do. Even if that thing you're doing isn't successful or whatever, you know what I mean? Like it was all worth it. That experience on set that you got, the
Was
you know what I mean? Learning the lines, doing all of those things, that was probably
right.
preparing for something even greater. You know what I mean? So, yeah,
Absolutely.
F people and you do you. And as long as you're like going at things with good intentions and you got a good heart, then I wouldn't too much care.
I will tell y'all one of the things they put down for ways to treat insecurity is they said having supportive friends. Thank you for being a supportive friend, not just in that instance, but in other instances too. And I
Yeah.
know me and you've had our differences in the past, and if I've ever done anything to sow insecurity into you or make you feel any type of way or make you take a step back from something, I definitely apologize for that because it was never my intention. From the
Yeah.
moment I met you, I sensed nothing but power and
Yeah.
and and the ability to do anything. I was always in awe of you. I remember when I first met you, I was like, well, I didn't think he was this tall. I was kind of like, oh, wow. Like I was in the main, I wish I was that tall. You know what I mean? I was
Yeah.
like, oh, dope. Like he's really good. And when I would watch you on About Him, I was like, this boy can act. Like I completely forgot you were Gary. All I knew of you, it was that you were Vince. And I was kind of like, okay, well, what's next? Well, please give him a chance. Like, stop leading the boy on. I was always ready for that. And one thing I can say is you always deliver in every role that you are. Whatever insecurities you have in that moment, it goes out the door. It goes completely out the door. But I say all this to tell y'all to be an ally to somebody that you know is insecure. If you have a friend that's insecure about something, see if you can find some ways to help them through it. I know some people are insecure about how they swim, like Gary said, how they walk, how they dress. It's one thing for you to point out the insecurity that they have. It's a whole other thing for you to be a good friend and say, hey, let me kind of help you through this. Because I've had people who show me how to dress. Mike, why don't you try this with your hair? Or Mike, let's go to the gym and let's do this, or let's try that. And it's been of nothing but benefit to my life. So I want to encourage each and every one of you to make sure you're doing that. So Gary,
Yeah.
how do you pay it forward? Because you provide opportunities. I feel like you pay it forward by being an inspiration to other people. That's how I feel.
Yeah, and that's what I try to do, man. Like I do what I can, like in terms of like trying to give back, whether that's sharing my stories, whether that's giving money to organizations, whether, I do like all of that, man. Like I just put good out there, and then I just keep good people around me too. You know what I mean? Like, so just, you know, my family and my friends like who are around me, they encourage me. Like they blow me up, they gas me up, and I'm like, y'all, this sound all right. And they're like, oh yeah, yeah, it sound good. So I just keep people around me that root for me, you know what I mean? And I do the same thing for them, and try to encourage them. And that's really how I pay it forward, man. And when I talk to people and I meet people for the first time, and I usually try to find something to encourage them, you know what I mean? Like I met someone recently this weekend, had never met him. He shared like some of his stories with me. Him and I just got in this deep conversation. And I feel like the conversation was really like impactful in that moment, and even leaving that night, I felt good to be where I was to have that conversation because I felt like it had somewhat of an impact on him. And that's what I try to do. Like when I have conversations with people or talk to people, I want it to be like impactful and meaningful, and you know me, like I'm a jokester, like I laugh all the time, I have fun, but I'm also the type of guy who would encourage and inspire you in a minute. You know what I mean? Like it takes
Absolutely.
for me to like inspire somebody or motivate someone or share some knowledge with someone to get someone else to the next level. That's how I feel like I'm gonna keep climbing. So yeah.
I'm with it. I'm with it. I love the openness that you're displaying. I love the willingness, like I said, to engage in psychology, to go see a psychiatrist. I love that you inspire other people. And I love that you're willing to step outside of yourself and say, hey, it's a better way to be. And people can receive that from you. That's all love. Because you
Yeah.
can't receive that type of energy from everybody. Some people look like, well, who are you to tell me this? But the way you say it, the way you do it is very, hey, you did a great job doing this, but hey, let's try it this way. Or why don't you
Yeah.
try this? And I love that, and it's needed. What I want to do, I see a lot of questions in here. Guys, if you have some questions for Gary, I'm going to go ahead and open the floor up for that real quick, briefly. So if you want to ask
Yeah.
some questions, go ahead.
Shout out to my sister. I see she's on. Shout out to Bess.
Yes, yes.
Brandon is on. I think I saw Corey. What up, Corey? I saw a
Corey Knight.
lot of people. I saw y'all on the screen, but I couldn't say nothing. I was deep in it.
Corey Knight is definitely somebody that I feel does a really good job of inspiring and supporting other people. He's given me some roles and some opportunities and stuff, and I'm always grateful for him. And I've just seen his growth as a content creator, and it's amazing. It's amazing. Vincent asks, where can I find your music? Yes, where can we find your music at?
You can find it on all digital music platforms. The link is in my bio, but I'm also putting my artist name, Bam, right there. So you can just look at it in Apple Music, Spotify, Tidal, Amazon, YouTube, whatever you got. Pandora. I'm on all of them.
He said we are he everywhere. Kashada, right? Is that how you pronounce it? Is it Kashada or
It's
Kashada?
Shada. It's Cash Shada.
Kashada.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm saying
Um,
it right.
yeah, my grandfather's nickname was Cash, and my grandmother's name was Ada, so I put them together and made Cash Ada.
That is
So,
so sweet. I would. That is the sweetest thing. That is the sweetest thing.
oh
I know.
man.
I have a question for you. Um. Oh, excuse me. Have you found it easier to navigate and network with people here, or in Los Angeles? Would you say?
That's a great question because the thing is, I don't like to network. I am actually very shy when it comes to like being at parties and walking up and talking to people, which a
Hmm.
lot of people don't know that. But I'm very summer walker sometimes. Like I just have like a lot of anxiety. I don't know what to say. I feel like what I'm gonna say is not the right thing to say. So I have like a lot of anxiety when it comes to networking. So so I wouldn't be able to really answer that question, I feel like, accurately. Because in both places, in both Atlanta and LA, I've been, super kind of somewhat timid in my approach, unless I'm at a place where they know who I am. Like if they know, oh, that's Gary LeVar, then you know me, I'm talking all night. I can, so, but I have to be comfortable in order to do that. So networking has never been my strong suit.
I'm about to say, so, okay, because whenever I've been in situations with you, people knew who you were in the room. So I was about to say, well, you seem like you're pretty dope at it. Because I know with me, a lot of times I might go to different situations. Well, not anymore, but when I first started,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know anybody in the room, and I had to kind of talk to every single person. I was always nervous, and you'd be like, "Oh, Mikey, did you know such and such, or did you meet such and such?" I'm like, "Oh my God, he knows everybody." Like, "Oh, this is so great. This is cool. That's my wingman right there."
Because
So
I
that's really
do You're right, because I do know a lot of people, but there
cool.
are times where I'm in these rooms and I don't know anybody, and I'm just like in my head, I'm like, oh my God, okay, well let me go and get a drink. Okay, all right. Next minute I know I'm drunk, and you know what I mean, like because I'm just nervous.
Sure.
Okay, look, trying to let the edge off, and I done messed around and got drunk, but yeah, so it
That is
happened.
hilarious to me. Crown Stefan asked a question. He says, "Is there a time when you're doing really well and your anxiety kicks in?"
Oh yeah, all the time. I mean, that's happening right now. But I think right now, I have like good anxiety. A lot of things are happening in my life. So, I think it's good anxiety. But yes, there are times where I've been at a high point in my life and still felt like the world was about to end, which is not a great,
It's not a
like,
good feeling.
that'll be another talk we have to do. But yeah, that's definitely something I felt before.
My therapist tells me, she said that's like almost a form of self-sabotage when things are going so great for you that you try to find something to kind
Right.
of like cover you off
Hmm.
bad to bring you back down. And she says you got to stop doing it. You got to live in the moment. You know
Yep.
that bad times are going to come. It's the part of the human experience. But in that moment, you need to live in the moment, you need to soak up everything that you're accomplishing,
Right.
everything that you're doing, and just love on it and just eat off of it.
Yep. And that's absolutely right, man. Because like I'm telling you, it was not a great feeling. Because I even questioned myself. Like in that moment, I'm like, man, I'm happy. I'm doing this. I'm doing this. I always prayed about this, and now I'm doing this. And why am I so like depressed? And
Mhm.
that was something I had to get over. Like most recently, like within this past year. So
Mm.
that's definitely a real feeling.
Yeah, it's interesting. Some Poppy Magic today, he posted a story that said people don't realize that anxiety and depression are not something that you can just cure or pray away. They're with you for the rest of your life, and you have to learn how to live with them on a day-to-day basis. Get help. Very important, y'all.
Yep.
Very important. Corey Knott says, I don't have a question. Just want to say congratulations on everything. You deserve it. I wholeheartedly agree, Corey.
Thank you, Corey. I appreciate that.
All
I
right, and
really,
congratulations on what you're doing too, Corey. We see you.
yeah.
I'll see. Corey, let me tell you,
Uh,
Corey, stay stopping his behind on the plane somewhere. I'm booked.
okay.
I'm playing here. I'm booked. I'm trying to
No,
be
I
like
know.
him. Like I said,
Develop
like,
he'll develop a show in a minute, in a snap of a finger. So I already know he's doing his thing.
so what's next for you? What are we working on now? We have the music coming out now. What's going on with shows and acting and stuff?
Oh, I'm glad you asked. No, I'm super super excited to announce I'm gonna be on Blue Bloods this fall, which is on CBS, and I'm super super.
Really?
Yeah, I'm so excited about that, man. I'm so excited. I filmed it. Thank you. I filmed it a couple weeks ago. I had to go to New York, and it was so funny because like the audition, I honestly thought I blew the audition, and obviously I ended up getting the part. And they called me a Thursday morning. By Thursday night, I was in New York and filming. So it was super dope, and I can't wait till that project comes out. Um, I'm also doing another web series. I don't know if I can talk about it yet though, but I'm starting production on it next month. And
So is it one you're making or somebody else is
it's
making?
it's it's someone else is producing it, but I love the story so much, man. And like when they reached out and I read the script, it was I was like, yeah, I got to do this. So I'm flying to DC next month, so I'll spend some time there, and I'll get to work. And yeah, and you're not gonna figure it
Listen,
out.
I
You're
think
not.
I did figure it out, but I'll be quiet about it.
Yeah.
This big head of mine be knowing everything. He'd be like, "Oh, so you know that?" And I'd be like, "Oh, okay, well, got it." But I
Yeah.
love it.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll start production on that next month, and then I'm also creating a new show for Glow Media. It's going to be a scripted series. So that's going to be super dope. I start production this fall. So a lot of stuff is coming, y'all way. So just stay on the lookout. Um my goal is to squeeze, cartels back in there because I keep saying that I'm gonna do a season two. I'm gonna do a season two.
I think you should.
I met somebody else literally like a week ago, and they were like, "Can you please do that again?" And I'm like, "Okay, like I'm gonna do it." So, at some point, in my schedule, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna film a second season.
I need a second season. That's a good show.
Yeah, thank you, man.
That's
Thank you.
definitely worth.
Yeah,
I'll make sure y'all check out Cartels. That's
I
good
know
because I was
you were on
okay.
Cartels too, actually. Wait, were you on Cartels
I believe I was.
on the radio interview?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
I can't remember. This was like 3 years ago. I can't remember.
No, I was because that's when I was at the radio station. Then that's when I was at
Yeah, that's
WTT
when
Radio. Shout out to them, yeah. WTT Radio. Blast from the
yeah,
past.
Yeah, yeah. Man, blast from the past.
Leave it at that. Awesome, awesome. Gary, I'm so proud of you. Thank you so much for coming on tonight. What do you want people ultimately to know about, dealing with their insecurities and anxiety?
Um, that it gets better. And if you just put in the self work, this work. If you work hard for yourself, it will pay off. But just like persevere through it. You know what I mean? Like it's not going to be an easy task, but when you make it out on that other side, I promise you, everything gone through will be so worth it.
Mm. And I guess for me, what I would tell everybody is to believe in yourself. Really believe in yourself.
Absolutely.
People are always going to tell you what you
Yeah.
can't do and what you can't be. And you got to just say, well, I'm going to do it anyway. I love proving people wrong. I love when people underestimate me. I love when they think they won the fight and I come in the last minute
Oh,
and swoop it. It's a wonderful
yeah,
feeling.
man. Yo, that's literally one of the keys to life, man, and that's something I discovered like lately. Um, because even doing like about him and doing all of those things that I've done in these like recent years, like I did them, but I have never believed in myself the way that I believe in myself now, and I can see the difference in my work. When you have that belief for yourself, like it's literally like it gives you a level of confidence that just lets you kind of, you can go after you want, you know what I mean? And nothing will really deter you off of that track you're on when you have that belief and confidence. Yeah,
I agree.
man.
It's like
Yeah.
divine fuel. It's like Popeye spinach. You ready? You knocking down
Okay.
everything.
Okay. Okay.
You
Okay.
ready
You
for it?
put the foot on their necks.
And they were trying to get you to take it off. You're like, oh no, because I got to make sure you can't
Uh,
breathe. Because you get any kind of air, you're gonna try to break
nah.
my ankle, and I'm not having you. Or not. We might not
Okay.
do this. Like, I'll try it if you want to.
Okay.
Definitely. All right, Gary. Y'all make sure y'all follow Gary Lavard on all his social media platforms. I believe it's at Gary Lavard, right?
Yep, on
And
everything.
then
And shout out to Zoe. I see he's on here too. What's up, man?
Zoe is dope. Zoe, I need you to come in here and do a one-on-one. I'm gonna DM you. We're gonna talk that out because we need to talk about some
Yo,
black business
I've been
on this
knowing
platform.
I've been knowing Zoe for a long time now, man. Like a long, long
Corey.
time ago. Yeah, so
Yeah, it's good.
he's another one that him and I used to like back in the day talk about kind of like where we wanted to go, and now we're both, So shout out to you, Zoe, man.
Yes, shout out to Zoe, y'all. Y'all check out the Humble Hustler, okay? He does some really dope work in the community. Has an
Hmm.
amazing clothing line. He's just an upstanding person.
Yeah, for sure, for
Reputation
sure.
is impeccable. I love his work ethic. And of course,
Yeah,
Gary, we love you. Feel free to come
thank
back here and talk anytime about any topic. I would love to have you on here. We gotta talk more.
Yeah, for
Definitely.
sure, man. And I'm proud of everything you're doing. I see you out here working. I see the platform. I see the body. I see all the changes that's happening. So, congratulations to you. And yeah, I'm super happy and good to see you doing well, man. And when I come to Atlanta, let's definitely connect.
Oh, I'm down for it. Connect, party, all the good things. We're gonna do
Yeah,
that.
man.
All right, I love you. And y'all, this is
Love you,
another one.
man.
We will be back on Monday with Alex Jante, and the topic is gonna be
What up,
body positive.
Alex?
One, too skinny. Okay? So that's
All
going
right.
to be lit. All right, I love
Real
y'all.
love. Stream now. Stream it now.
Dream.
Real love. Go get it.
You know it's on Apple.
Peace.
Peace. Oh my goodness, y'all, that was so good. That was so dope and so refreshing. Listen, I am booking for the month of September and October for 101. I have some topics that I'm going to be announcing and posting. And so what I want you guys to do is pretty much hit me up and let me know what topics you want to talk about. You think I should cover. If you want to give me some feedback, I'm open to that. I love you guys for your support. I love you for watching. I love you for the badges you buy and send. Thank you so, so much. If you want to reach out to me and talk, DM me. I'm here. Y'all have an amazing night, okay? And remember to believe in yourselves as I believe in all of you. Don't let any insecurity stop you from doing what you're doing. You're fucking amazing. Peace. Good night.